I'd like to see that ring.
This one?
No, the one with the diamond.
The diamond engagement ring? Yes, sir. It's a real beauty, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Do you know what size ring the lady wears?
No, I don't have the slightest idea. Is that a problem?
No, not necessarily. We can always adjust the ring to the correct size later.
Oh, good. Can you tell me how many carats it is?
3 carats.
You think that would be enough?
Well, that depends on the lady, sir.
I hope she likes it.
I'm sure she'll find it delightful, sir. Will that be cash or credit card?
Credit card. I'd like to see that ring.
This one?
No, the one with the diamond.
The diamond engagement ring? Yes, sir. It's a real beauty, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Do you know what size ring the lady wears?
No, I don't have the slightest idea. Is that a problem?
No, not necessarily. We can always adjust the ring to the correct size later.
Oh, good. Can you tell me how many carats it is?
3 carats.
You think that would be enough?
Well, that depends on the lady, sir.
I hope she likes it.
I'm sure she'll find it delightful, sir. Will that be cash or credit card?
Credit card. I'd like to see that ring.
This one?
No, the one with the diamond.
The diamond engagement ring? Yes, sir. It's a real beauty, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Do you know what size ring the lady wears?
No, I don't have the slightest idea. Is that a problem?
No, not necessarily. We can always adjust the ring to the correct size later.
Oh, good. Can you tell me how many carats it is?
3 carats.
You think that would be enough?
Well, that depends on the lady, sir.
I hope she likes it.
I'm sure she'll find it delightful, sir. Will that be cash or credit card?
Credit card.
Titanic Cruise Liner, how may I help you?
Do you know if I can make a dinner reservation for tomorrow evening?
Can you tell me what kind of cruise you're interested in?
The full moon cruise.
Is this an intimate occasion or a grand affair?
It's an intimate occasion.
Yes, sir. You can dine with us while cruising the Long Beach Harbor. You can enjoy a 3-course meal, dance to music, and stroll under the stars on the upper deck.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Could I ask you what time we should arrive at the harbor?
Boarding time is at 8:30. Would you like me to make a reservation?
Yes, please.
Under what name would you like me to make the reservation, sir?
Campbell. David Campbell.
Titanic Cruise Liner, how may I help you?
Do you know if I can make a dinner reservation for tomorrow evening?
Can you tell me what kind of cruise you're interested in?
The full moon cruise.
Is this an intimate occasion or a grand affair?
It's an intimate occasion.
Yes, sir. You can dine with us while cruising the Long Beach Harbor. You can enjoy a 3-course meal, dance to music, and stroll under the stars on the upper deck.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Could I ask you what time we should arrive at the harbor?
Boarding time is at 8:30. Would you like me to make a reservation?
Yes, please.
Under what name would you like me to make the reservation, sir?
Campbell. David Campbell.
Titanic Cruise Liner, how may I help you?
Do you know if I can make a dinner reservation for tomorrow evening?
Can you tell me what kind of cruise you're interested in?
The full moon cruise.
Is this an intimate occasion or a grand affair?
It's an intimate occasion.
Yes, sir. You can dine with us while cruising the Long Beach Harbor. You can enjoy a 3-course meal, dance to music, and stroll under the stars on the upper deck.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Could I ask you what time we should arrive at the harbor?
Boarding time is at 8:30. Would you like me to make a reservation?
Yes, please.
Under what name would you like me to make the reservation, sir?
Campbell. David Campbell.
Hi, and welcome back to the classroom, where today I think, we're going to be talking about tag questions again, aren't we? You remember tag questions, don't you? Tag questions are those little, usually two-word questionnaires that we tag on to the end of a question in order to emphasize our point or for various other reasons that have to do with wanting to elicit, wanting to draw from the person we're talking to a particular response. I'd like to review tag questions in this unit and then maybe to talk a little bit about another kind of question that we'll call embedded questions. Let's begin, shall we? Hey, it's fun to learn English with this video course, isn't it? What's the tag question in this particular sentence? Well, of course, the tag question in this sentence is, isn't it? It's fun to learn English with this video course, isn't it? You are learning a lot, aren't you? We learn many new things with each lesson, don't we? Today, our lesson is about tag questions, isn't it? So you'll remember then that these questions come at the very end of whatever the sentence is that they are tagged onto or that they follow. And they always use the same verb that is used in the particular sentence. Now, of course, for example, you are learning a lot, aren't you? It's fun. It is fun, in other words, to learn English with this video course, isn't it? The one thing that's a little bit tricky about this is, of course, in an example like the simple present, where it says, we learn many new things with each lesson, don't we? In which, of course, the helper verb don't is what tends to go along with simple present. For example, when we make a question up using simple present, we would say, do we learn many new things? And that's why the helper verb do is what would be used to make the tag questions in a simple present statement. We went to the store last night, didn't we? Same thing, except in the simple past tense. Let's look at some more examples. You are learning a lot, aren't you? Tag questions aren't difficult, are they? See, I say it like that because I want you to agree with me. Oh, no, teacher, they're not difficult at all. Oh, yes, teacher, we certainly are learning a lot, aren't we? Our lesson today is about tag questions, isn't it? You don't think they're difficult, do you? See, that sometimes that tag question has a little bit of, sort of a fist in the velvet glove, you know. The tag question sometimes has a little bit of threat in it, like, oh, you don't think they're difficult, do you? You'd better not. Now, let's take a closer look at these sentences, okay? That either looks a little strange, doesn't it? You are learning a lot, aren't you? Our lesson is about tag questions, isn't it? And what do you notice about the two tag questions in those sentences, which we'll call sentence 1 and sentence 3. You are learning a lot, aren't you? Our lesson is about tag questions, isn't it? Aren't you and isn't it are both negative contractions. But you are learning and our lesson is are both affirmative statements. Okay? So, what I'm noticing is that in the sentences that have affirmative statements, the tag questions are phrased in the negative. You are learning a lot, aren't you? Our lesson is about tag questions, isn't it? Well, what about those others? Maybe if the sentences are phrased in the negative, the tag question is going to be affirmative. Let's look and see if that's true. Tag questions aren't difficult, are they? You don't think they're difficult, do you? So there we go. We've got negative statements and affirmative tag questions. I wonder if there's a rule in that. An affirmative statement will have a negative tag question. I know you, don't I? A negative statement will carry an affirmative tag questions. I don't know you, do I? See that? Let's practice that last little point. If I have a positive statement, I'm going to want to hear a negative tag question. If it's a negative statement, I'm going to want to hear a positive, or we should say affirmative tag statement, tag question. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? She's not happy today. She's not happy today, is she? You are coming to the party. You are coming to the party, aren't you? You aren't going to that party. You aren't going to that party, are you? He doesn't like much sugar in his coffee. He doesn't like much sugar in his coffee, does he? He likes a lot of cream in his coffee. He likes a lot of cream in his coffee, doesn't he? Okay? I'd say, oh, it's late. It's late, isn't it? She can't play today. She can't play today, can she? You must stop smoking. You must stop smoking. Mustn't you? Now you see there, she can't play today, can she? You must stop smoking, mustn't you? You're going to use whatever is, in this case, the modal to make the tag question. He should practice his violin every day, shouldn't he? He would like to go with us to the movies tonight, wouldn't he? He must have a thing for her, mustn't he? See that? It's the negative tag question or the tag word, let's say in those tag questions, always follows the modal in statements that use modals. You aren't serious, are you? Okay, now let's do some exercises. Here are John and Donna. This is John. You're going to fill in the blank with the tag question. So, this is John. Negative tag statement would be, isn't it? That's not Donna. It's a negative statement, so it's going to be what? An affirmative tag question. That's not Donna, is it? Yes, it is. Let's do another one. These are John's kids. Fill in the blank. These are John's kids. These are John's kids, aren't they? David's not their uncle. David's not their uncle, is he? That's my saw, says David. That's my saw. That's my saw, isn't it? John says, oh, you want it back. You want it back, don't you? See, there's an example of having to use the helper verb do and the negative both. Oh, you want it back, don't you? Oh, that's right. You wanted that address that I forgot to send you, didn't you? You know, like that. David says to Monica, you like dancing. You like dancing, don't you? Monica answers, or Monica responds, you do too. You do too, don't you? Notice, just for writing these things, we always put a comma after the actual sentence and before the little tag question, which of course still ends with a question mark. John says, honey, you don't need any onions. Fill in the blank. Honey, you don't need any onions, do you? Donna says, dear, you're not stopping by the post office. You're not stopping by the post office, are you? You can see in that last sentence, for example, how a tag question would often be used in regular kind of daily life. When Donna says, you're not stopping by the post office, are you? We know that she's going to be asking John if he can mail a letter for her or buy her some stamps, right? She probably isn't going to say, dear, you're not stopping by the post office, are you? If she's just asking him about his day. Now, she might say that if she wanted him to come straight home because, they had a date to go out somewhere, and she knows that if he starts doing a bunch of errands and stopping by the post office that he'll be late. You know, that kind of thing. Dear, you're not stopping by the post office, are you? That would be, I hope you're not, is really what's being said there. So these tag questions always make you sort of stop and think, oh, what's really being asked here? It's not the post office. It's she wants me to do an errand, or she wants to make sure I come straight home. You know, things like that. In the same way, honey, you don't need any onions, do you? Could be, oh, I don't have to stop by the grocery store, too. But it could also just be, while making up a list, you don't need any onions, do you? Hey, guess what? I noticed that there are not many onions left. I think you probably better check those. There's always a little bit of an extra statement being made when we have these tag questions. Now, add a tag question to the sentence for this exercise. So the sentence is, he's a doctor. With the tag question, it would be, he's a doctor, isn't he? They landed a man on the moon. With the tag question, it would be, they landed a man on the moon, didn't they? The baby is learning to walk. With the tag question, it would be, hey, the baby's learning to walk, isn't he? He was trying to catch a butterfly. With a tag question, the sentence would be, he was trying to catch a butterfly, wasn't he? He caught a big fish. With a tag question, the sentence would be, with a tag question, the sentence would be, he caught a big fish, didn't he? Wouldn't it? They don't play very well. With a tag question, the sentence would read, they don't play very well, do they? She has been sunbathing all day. With a tag question, how would that sentence read? With a tag question, that sentence would read, she has been sunbathing all day, hasn't she? So there is an example of a tag question used in a sentence that's in the present perfect, right? She has been sunbathing, or present perfect continuous, isn't it? She has been sunbathing all day, hasn't she? Using the helper verb have, which is the one that's used in the tense. He shouldn't smoke. With a tag question, he shouldn't smoke, should he? There's the modal. He ought to go see a dentist, or he ought to go to the dentist. With a tag question, this is a little tricky for you because I don't think we've talked about ought before, but we ought to have, oughtn't we? He ought to go to the dentist, oughtn't he? A little more common in British English probably than in American, but you still hear it here quite a bit. Ought means should. It's another modal that means should. Ought means should. You ought to have told her the truth before you married her, for example. Or he ought to have deposited his paycheck in the bank immediately because the check bounced the next day, or, you know, whatever. Ought has that feeling of something that one must do, or one should have done. He ought to go to the dentist. Oughtn't he is the tag version. Or she oughtn't to have eaten that extra piece of chocolate cake, ought she? They can dance very well. With the tag question, they can dance very well, can't they? He doesn't have any idea what to do. With the tag question would be, he doesn't have any idea what to do. Does he? she didn't wink at you, with a tag question would be, she didn't wink at you, did she? See, it's often used also to express surprise, or incredulity is a word that we have that means, I can't believe it. She didn't wink at you, did she? See the kind of feeling of that? She didn't wink at you, did she? That woman up there in the top floor, looking out that little window, she didn't wink at you, did she? Now, as I promised, we are also going to talk a bit about embedded questions. Now, what do I mean by an embedded question? See this fellow. We might wonder, how much did he win? Now, there are certain phrases that we use that begin a question that is a little different from a direct question, like, how much did he win? I might say, for example, do you know how much he won? So the question, how much did he win, sort of gets changed around to, do you know how much he won? Because the question word in the first example, how much did he win, is really replaced by the question phrase, do you know? And then the how much becomes more of a kind of adverbial phrase, right? He won how much? So we start in these embedded questions, we would start with the new question phrase, like, do you know? And then we take the how much, which would be, in effect, the question word from the original direct question. So it's, do you know how much? And then basically what we do is we re-invert that inverted statement that's become the question, right? As we know, to form questions in English, we usually invert the position of the verb and the subject. And if we need a helper verb, as in the past simple here, we would go, did he win? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to go directly in our embedded question, we're going to go directly to the subject of our direct question. So how much did he win? The subject is still he. So we get, do you know how much he? And then you take the verb, which is did win in the question, but in the embedded question, it's just going to revert to its simplest form, won, the past tense. So how much did he win becomes, do you know how much he won? Okay? Let's look at a few examples. By the time we finish them, I think you'll understand this just fine. It's a little bit like the lesson we did a while ago about reported speech. I believe that's Unit 10. The reported speech, where we had to convert from direct statements to indirect ones, is similar in some ways to this taking of direct questions and making them into embedded ones. Okay, now let's try another one. The direct statement, the direct question rather, is what did he give her? And in this case, let's use the new question words, do you know? So let's do this one together. Do you know? And then we're going to use what? The question word from the direct question, which is what? And then we're going to take the subject, right? So do you know what he? And then we're going to take the verb, right? Which, as a question in the simple past, becomes did give with the he in between, but in a direct statement then would become gave, right? Just the simple past. And then whatever happens to be there in the rest of the sentence, in this case, her. So, do you know what he gave her. Okay? What did he give her? Do you know what he gave her? You'll catch on. How about this one? Why is she crying? And let's use the new question phrase, do you know? Okay? You try this one on your own now. Why is she crying? As an embedded question becomes, do you know? You can do it. Come on, think harder. Okay, do you know, question word, why, subject she, verb is crying. Do you know why she is crying? Why is she crying? Do you know why she's crying? You can, of course, use the contraction, she's. What is he looking at? And do you know is our new question phrase. Okay? Do you know? What is he looking at? Do you know what he is looking at? Got that? See that? We take the question word what, the subject he, the is looking is then back together in the right order, and or is looking at. Since look at is what? A two-word or phrasal verb. What are they arguing about? Do you know what are they arguing about? As an embedded question becomes, do you know, question word, what, subject they, verb in the correct order and closeness, are arguing, rest of the sentence, about. Do you know what they are arguing about? How much does it cost? And use the new question phrase. Could you tell me something you would often use, by the way, in a restaurant or a store, where you'll often say to the clerk something very much like this. Could you tell me? And then the question is, how much does it cost? Could you tell me how much it, and then we don't need the does, right? So it's how much it cost. How much does it cost? Could you tell me how much it cost? What did he tell you? Using do you remember? What did he tell you? Do you remember? What did he tell you? Do you remember what he told you? The what is the question word. The he did tell is going to be past simple, right? So it's how much he told you. What's the time? Can you tell me what the time is? Where did you go to school? use the phrase, can you tell me? Can you tell me remember, with did, you know it's going to be past tense. Where did you go to school becomes, can you tell me where you went to school? How about using the phrase, can you tell me? The direct question is that the last exercise? Can you tell me? We have to add a word to this one. If that was the last exercise? Yes, short answer, it was. Thank you for joining me here to learn your English at LEI.